Welcome, everybody, to another episode of uSTADIUM Fantasy Live. What a day it was. Almost left speechless with the amount of news that happened today, from Aaron Rodgers to Russell Wilson and everything in between. But we're going to get to all that. With me, as always, is the talented Stefan Bershbombs. How's it going, big guy?
I love it. Remember last week I was like, I'm bored. I want something. This was something.
Yeah.
Today was the day, and I was even at the grocery store checking out.
Oh,
and
no.
I'm looking
You got the
down.
news?
I'm like, oh. She's like, what? Are you okay? I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Russell Wilson just got traded. She's like, huh? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was huge. So much news in the NFL today. News from around the NFL. Let's get to it right away. A lot of fantasy takes, a lot of fantasy implications with the moves. Guys moving up, guys moving down, guys staying right where they are. But it was a big, big day in NFL. Tons of news. uSTADIUM was fast on it today. They had a live as soon as the news dropped. Splash, Zach, Jack was on there. There was a bunch of uSTADIUM personality on that, just talking what was happening because it was huge, man. It was huge. So if you didn't have the uSTADIUM app, you're missing out. If you're not subscribed to the uSTADIUM channel, you're missing out. So like the stream, subscribe to the channel, download the app. Everything you need is in the description. So let's get to one of the first topics today. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers agreed to return to the Packers. Details are still a little bit unknown, I think. He has come out to say the 4-year, $200 million contract was false, but that he is returning to the Packers for at least this year. So we'll see what happens there. And then with that, wide receiver Davante Adams was franchise tagged by the Packers as well. 19.1 mil for the 2022 year. Huge in terms of fantasy. I had Davante Adams as, I think, my wide receiver 3 when we did that show last week. So now I'm going to bump him up to wide receiver 2, just behind Cooper Kupp. I got Cooper Kupp right there, just above a Davante Adams, because there's no reason why Cooper Kupp can't do what he did this past season going into 2022. I know you had Davante Adams number 1, and I'm guessing with the news that he is staying in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, you're not moving the man.
No, I mean, honestly, like I said, if he was to go somewhere else, I would have dropped him, but I ranked him according to him going back to Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. So that's why he stayed at 1. He will still be at 1. And unless Cooper Kupp stops having breakfast with Matt Stafford, he's going to stay at number 2 or 3 for me. So he's always going to fluctuate depending on what Justin Jefferson does. So, but no, I mean, it's a good day. I mean, I wanted to wear this because Chris Godwin is staying in Tampa too. So unfortunately, we have to get rid of Carlton Davis in a way, let him test the free agent market. But honestly, if I was to choose, and I said this in the previous show, I'd rather have Chris Godwin on that team than, sadly, Carlton Davis. So.
Now, who's slinging the rock for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Steph? It's going to be Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask right now are the 2 QBs in the room. Deshaun Watson's out there. Mitch Trubisky's going to be out there. Who knows what happens with Drew Lock might be moved by Seattle. They might turn around and move him. You got Teddy Bridgewater there. They could draft a guy. What do you see happening with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in terms of the quarterback position? Because with Gabbert or Trask, Godwin for me still doesn't hold that elite wide receiver value in terms of a fantasy production. With Tom Brady, sure, he's a top 10 guy, top 15 guy, but I'm still weary of putting Godwin up into that top 15 with those 2 behind center.
I mean, listen, it's a big drop off between Tom Brady and Blaine Gabbert, Tom Brady and Kyle Trask.
Big drop off.
I see a lot of Bucs fans. I've got a lot of followers that are Bucs fans. I just see them saying that Kyle Trask, if I saw this one tweet, if he was this year's quarterback in this draft, he would be the first selected quarterback. He'd be in the top 6, stuff like that. Now, as much as I would love to be like, hey, this guy is a second coming of whatever quarterback that could throw a rock good, that could get you wins, he's not. I don't think he's developed yet. I think he's still got that raw just that raw ability. It's like in, when you play like 2K, NBA 2K, you have to untap the potential for some rookies.
Yeah.
I don't think that he has the untapped potential yet. I think he has to at least stay one more year in the system. If they want to just say, hey, you know what, play out the year, we know what we have, we could just go with what we go with, and we draft, go rebuild next year. I don't think they're in a rebuilding phase yet. I think Tampa still has, defensive players. Yeah, they lost Carlton Davis, like I just mentioned, but that defensive front still stout. Vita Vea is still there. They lose JPP. So, like, you do have to fill some holes. And, I mean, honestly, say this end of the first round comes and you don't really want someone that's there. So you go, oh, I don't need this guy. I don't need, a tackle just yet. You see a guy like Desmond Ridder still sitting there. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be, I guess, against getting Desmond Ridder, having him, Trask, and Blaine Gabbert. I do think, though, Blaine Gabbert has earned the first crack at the job. No one wants to hear that. He's 33 years old. He hasn't done anything since, he got drafted. We know, but he sat behind Tom Brady for 2 years. He's not he's not who he was when he first came into the league. I mean, you sit behind anybody like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler, kind of for a little bit, Jimmy G and Brady and Brissett. Like, these guys have to learn something. And I think that Blaine Gabbert has enough to carry the ship to at least afloat it to like some kind of a playoff run, maybe like the first round exit, wild card. Because that NFC South, it too. We're both NFC South guys. It's kind of a crapshoot right now. So,
and the whole conference has gotten a little lighter. Like, now Russ is gone over there. I was hoping maybe Rodgers would move to the AFC as well, but even for him, it's gotten a bit lighter.
Exactly.
So there's also you got Jimmy Garoppolo that could end up in Tampa. Jameis Winston possibly reunite. I really doubt it with everything that happened with
Arians said no on
that. With Arians. And I think and then maybe a Sam Darnold. Who knows what happens there?
Hey, listen, Sam Darnold, I was like, okay, it's the Jets. How everyone's bad on the Jets for a while. And then I'm like, okay, it's the Panthers. You got good receivers. I mean, hey, listen, Teddy Bridgewater gave Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, and DJ Moore 1,000 purpose yards for Samuel, but 1,000 receiving yards for the other guys. I thought he had it. I don't want Sam Darnold in Tampa. I'd rather go with Kyle Trask than Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
I would take Jimmy Garoppolo though, but I just think it's going to be Blaine Gabbert at least for the first quarter of the season. And if he does maintain, like I said, the ship well, I don't see why he wouldn't just finish up the season as a quarterback. But hey, it's Tampa, it's Arians. If Kyle Trask is that guy we don't know about, I could be eating these words come September. So
exactly. And then we thought the news couldn't get any crazier. The Denver Broncos have traded for quarterback Russell Wilson. Ooh. The Seahawks are getting Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 5th. The Broncos are getting Russ Wilson and a 5th. Big fantasy implications with this one, as the stock of Jerry Jeudy, Alberto, KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick move up, and the value of Noah Fant, Tyler Lockett, unless moved out of Seattle, move down a bit. What does this do to the value of Javonte Williams? Frank Greco says, I want to see what Trask can do. He was great in Florida. He put up some great passing numbers. So I, too, would like to see what Kyle Trask can do. But as for Javonte Williams, I think I'm keeping him at the 15 spot. We know that Russell Wilson wasn't the type of quarterback to dump it down to his running backs. He's always got his eyes upfield. But I like him in the Nathaniel Hackett game plan there, what they're going to do in Denver. So I'm going to keep Javonte at the 15 spot. I know you had him in the top 10. Are you dropping him down at all?
So even if it was Aaron Rodgers that went to the team, I don't think I'm going to put him that high yet, because even though we know Russell Wilson is that deep ball guy, he's a guy who's like, he's going to sling the rock. I think this new offensive scheme for him is like, hey, listen, we've got a really young running back. We've got really young receivers. Like, you don't have to throw the ball like you did to DK Metcalf on those, like, beautiful – and he has one of the best rainbow pass balls in the entire league.
Drop it in a bucket.
Cortland Sutton is – he's not DK Metcalf, but he kind of has got, like, the similar build where it's like you can throw him that rainbow of a pass and bang, you hit him. But I think Javonte Williams, as of now, until Melvin Gordon is cleared either to return back or to just leave the team, I still have to leave him where he's at. I mean, I do think it's an uptake for him, though. I think Russell Wilson's going to look at like, hey, listen, he had Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch was a 1,000-yard rusher. Chris Carson was a 1,000-yard rusher. So he produces 1,000-yard backs. It's just like, when they get to a certain point, are they going to phase him out? I don't think so. So I think Javonte, as of right now, stays in my top 10, borderline top 11. If Melvin Gordon, like I said, stays, I might bump him down to 10, 11. But I think this is good for him. I think Russell Wilson brings a different dynamic that Teddy Bridgewater didn't bring, that Drew Lock never brought. Like, I think this is a whole new regime, and they're doing the Tampa/Rams like thing where it's like, hey, let's get everything we can, because they gave a lot away. And
they did.
I mean, Noah Fant's 24 years old. It feels like he's been in the league for 7 years, but it's only been 3. So, I mean, is Albert O the guy? We hope so. I mean, he's like, to me, like a Pat Fairmouth is. He's a big guy. He has great potential. But I think we got to pump the brakes a little bit on Denver. We got to see how they perform on paper. It's amazing. But I think Javonte Williams still cracks 1,000 yards. I think he still gets borderline 8. Is it crazy to say 8 to 10 touchdowns like total for Javonte Williams? Like,
I wouldn't say it's crazy. Give me over under 8.5. I think I'm taking the over on that one. If Mel Gordon leaves, if Mel Gordon stays, I'm taking the under. Yeah, I think the Melvin Gordon situation is going to have a lot to do with where Javonte Williams is going to finish. Of course, does the Russell Wilson coming into Denver kind of seal the fate for Melvin Gordon, meaning that he's out of Denver now?
I think in a way, yes, but and also a way, no. Because it's like, why not have your cake in Javonte Williams, and why not be able to eat it and have Melvin Gordon? I mean, they were good last year. Like I said, all jokes aside, fantasy purposes aside, this was a 50-50 split that averaged almost 2,000 yards rushing and over, I think, 17 total touchdowns. Like that, for one running back, that's insane to have a 50-50 split. You basically accumulated all that, and they were good. It's just, we always knew, hey, your quarterback play is the reason you're not winning games. You're not winning games. You're not losing games because Javonte Williams is doing good. You're losing games because Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have a deep ball. Drew Lock is, I'm sorry, but he's nothing. He had that one game where he's singing, Put On by Kanye and Lil Jeezy. And ever since then, it's been nothing but downhill.
Yeah.
I mean, and Noah Fant can't get rid of the guy. Like everywhere he goes, Noah Fant's like, I got to deal with this guy again. So.
Yeah, definitely some crazy stuff there. I was not expecting that. So when it came across my timeline, when I got the notification from uSTADIUM, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if it was true or false. But if it comes from uSTADIUM, you know it's true.
Is it too much, though? Do they give up too much, you think, of a future? Like, they have a 3-year window now.
I don't know about that. I mean, are the draft picks really worth that much? I mean, we've seen what the Rams did with no draft picks, buying players. They got a franchise QB, which probably 22 other teams in the league might not necessarily have right now. There's a lot of teams on the fence with their QBs. There's a lot of teams either going to draft QBs or got bridge quarterbacks for younger guys in the future. So I don't hate it. I mean, you can never go wrong securing one of the most important positions in the NFL. Mike Williams also tagged by the Chargers. I love it for my Mike Williams shares. Hate it for my Josh Palmer shares. I was really hoping Mike Williams was out of there for my dynasty teams where I own Josh Palmer, who's now probably going to be the wide receiver 3 for the Los Angeles Chargers. I was also hoping maybe some other guys would end up on the Chargers, maybe a DJ Shark, or they still might draft a guy, but I think they're good at the position, even though Keenan Allen is a bit on the age range. He's up there. He's up there. I don't want to say old because I'm older than him, but he's up there.
NFL years like dog years, though.
He's like 72 in NFL years. Yeah. One of your teams, Josh Reynolds, re-signed with the Lions on a 2-year deal. He played decent down the stretch. He did what they asked him to do. I think he even bit one kneecap. So Josh Reynolds re-signed with the Lions. But tonight we are talking tight ends, and that's what we are here for. uSTADIUM Fantasy Live. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel. 2 of the important or potentially incoming free agent tight ends, Mike Gesicki and Dalton Schultz. Both got tagged today as well. And Njoku got tagged on Monday. He was tagged yesterday. I don't know what that means for Austin Hooper. Might be on his way out of Cleveland. But huge day if for Dalton Schultz, I think, because if Cooper leaves, we have the information with the Jarwin hip surgery. I'm expecting Schultz to live up to what he did last season, where he finished as the tight end 3 in half point PPR. So as for Mike Gesicki, though, the Dolphins got a steal by tagging him as a tight end. He lined up as a tight end on 140 of 784 snaps. So they tagged a tight end who pretty much plays a wide receiver.
They got away with some robbery on that one. Ain't no Jimmy Graham situation going on with this one.
Yeah, so that's huge for the Dolphins. Splash. We're gonna do Stefan's graphic first. There, I don't have access to my keyboard. Sorry, buddy, but we're just gonna rifle off the top 10 0.5 PPR scorers from last season, the 2021 season. We crowned a new king of the castle, Mark Andrews, 247.6 fantasy points, finished as the tight end 1. Travis Kelce was right there, 216.8 points. Dalton Schultz finished as tight end 3, 169.8 points. He averaged 10 points per game. Behind him, George Kittle, 162.5, but he only played 14 games. Rob Gronkowski finished tight end 5. When he's in the game, he's in the game. He's involved often. He catches balls. There's talk that he might end up going to Buffalo, where he's from. So play maybe his last year in his hometown, which would be huge. So 143.7. Zach Ertz, who didn't make either of our lists. Zach Ertz, 143.7, finished as tight end 6. Kyle Pitts, rookie tight end from the Atlanta Falcons, 142.6. And then we got Dawson Knox, 139.6. Hunter Henry finished as tight end 9 with 139.3 fantasy points. And then rounding out the top 10, you got to guess who finished 10th? It's right there. It's right there. You got the sound right. Dallas Goedert. Yeah, you got it. 137.0. But he did miss some time as well. So those were the last season's top 10 finishing 0.5 PPR tight ends. And we're going to give you now each of our top 15 way too early. As you can see, these rankings are going to adjust throughout the season, but this is our base. These are not dynasty rankings, so treated as redraft rankings. These are going to shuffle. We're building a base, and then as we get closer to the season with the rookies coming in or whatnot, we're going to adjust these to make a final consensus ranking at each position. So we're just building our base here. We're getting our feet under us with these positional guys. Some people are drafting right now. I don't see too many redraft people drafting right now, but dynasty people are drafting right now. You're making trades, you're making moves and all that other stuff. And we're going to talk about each other's lists and then give you some points. I'm going to pick apart his list a little bit here, Stefan's, and he's going to pick apart mine. So this is Stefan's top 15 tight ends. Our lists aren't that far off. There isn't too much to argue. And considering tight ends 5 to 10 from last year were separated by less than 10 points, they can be interchangeable throughout the season. But honestly, we can file these rankings in that special filing cabinet for stuff from corporate because Noah Fant's on here, and I'm pretty sure for both of us, even though he's an elite athlete, Noah Fant is an athlete. He ranks high in a lot of the athletic scoring, the 99th percentile in a lot of this stuff. But with the situation where he's moved to Seattle, I know Everett, I think, is a free agent. I just don't know what to expect out of the passing attack that is the Seattle Seahawks. But we made the graphics. We did our research on some of these guys, and so we're gonna talk about them, right?
I mean, when you say way too early, we mean literally way too early because
Yeah.
I'm over here scrambling at like 5 o'clock. Like, we need to get this guy off my list. Get Noah Fun off the list. It's like it's too late. I'm like, crap.
It is. It was just a little bit too late there.
I mean, but you can't stop the news like that. I mean, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I think our top two are the same. You got Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, and then you got Kyle Pitts at 3. I got George Kittle at 3. So those two are kind of, I guess, interchangeable. And then I'll let you take away the rest there, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. At the end of this list, or at the end of the year, I'm going to have Kyle Pitts. And you can actually bookmark this splash right now. I'm going to make the first little, like, should I save it for later or should I say it now? Should I say my little take on Kyle Pitts?
No, give it to us.
All right. So my first take out of the two I have for tonight is Kyle Pitts in all
so we'll remember this.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Will be the tight end 1 at the end of the season. I bet you any dollar amount right now. Find me Calvin Ridley. Tell him to put the bet in for me. I bet you right now he ends up tight end 1 on the season. PPR, half point PPR, dynasty. This guy is worth everything you've got, all your Debbie picks, everything. So I mean, I can't see anyone else topping him. Kelce got dethroned. George Kittle is starting to catch up in age a little bit. Now this is the top 5 all the way to 10. They are literally, like you said, interchangeable by like 10 points. Like it was such a close like year in tight end that if Mike Gesicki had one more good game, or say if Dalton Schultz had one more touchdown, he finishes above half of these guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we look at last year. I mean, Dawson Knox had a crazy, like, middle of the season and kind of disappeared. Dalton Schultz was one of the most consistent tight ends, and I kind of feel like I'm doing him dirty a little bit by putting him at 8. Mm-hmm. But can he consistently put up 78 catches on 104 targets, 808 yards, and 8 touchdowns? I think so, but, like, it kind of was like one of those really good years.
Yeah.
Another guy that I have on there that I know you were going to pick apart was Dallas Goedert. I want to put him higher. I do. I just don't think I don't think he's going to sit there and do better than George Kittle, Pitts, Kelce, or Andrews. I think Waller might be the only guy he can leapfrog because it's finally the offseason of Dallas Goedert. This is it. This is when he's tight end 1. There is no one else. There is not like, hey, we're going to trade Zach Ertz. None of that mumbo jumbo crap. It's going to be the Dallas Goedert show in Philadelphia. So I want him in every league. I want him all across the board. And tight ends, if you're not going to pay the premium for the top 5, Goddard, Hawkinson, Schultz, Knox, Pat Muth, those are all great guys. And they're all interchangeable. The only guy I kind of hesitated with, though, was TJ Hawkinson because it just seems like the guy can't stay healthy. It seems like every time he gets to a certain point, he falls off the cliff that Max Kellerman said Brady would. And we're looking like, hey, wait, where is this guy at? And now we see Jesse James or whoever it is that's getting tight end target usage in Detroit. So Hawkinson is kind of going to sit there for me. Dalton Schultz could probably leapfrog him. But, like, another guy I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for is Dawson Knox. I don't think he does anything I don't think he does anything near as good as last year because he kind of was phased out after a while. I mean, he had 49 catches on 71 targets, which is a phenomenal catch rate. Don't get me wrong. But he had 587 yards and only 9 touchdowns. He had multiple touchdown games that kind of like boosted the stats a little bit. So, like, to me, it's kind of like I believe it, but, like, I'm not going to fall bait and take you at a certain draft spot and then get burned because, like, I saw what you did last year. So I'm kind of weary on Dawson Knox, even Gronk. That's why I don't have Gronk on this list.
Just don't know if he's going to play.
Exactly. It's like the Michael Thomas, Calvin Ridley. By the way, now that the Calvin Ridley thing happened, I'm glad he's not on our list.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that at the top because with all the news that happened today, it just kind of got lost in the mix. But Calvin Ridley suspended for at least a year for gambling on NFL games while he wasn't in the NFL, which is kind of huge. Big stuff.
It shocked me. But, like, hey, you know what? You know what, though? When you're not as smart as other players are and look at your contract, look at the clause, you have to know as a player, you have to know what you can and cannot do. Yeah. And when you're betting on your own games, come on now. You're going to bet as a Falcons player on your own games and think they're not going to catch you. It's the NFL. It's like the FBI. They will find you. So
they're like the Vatican. They got their own police. There's a couple guys on your list that I think you have a little bit too high. You mentioned him, Dawson Knox. For me, with Knox, does he take that next step where he's used more than just a touchdown dependent fantasy producing tight end? In games where Knox didn't score a touchdown, he scored 6.1, 6 points, 2.2, 11 points, 2.4, 5.8, and a big fat 0 on championship weekend. That's 7 games where he barely produced as a tight end 3. Having him as a tight end 1 like you do means he is getting more involved in the passing game, moving the ball downfield than just that end zone target. He held a 13.2 target share, a 13.2% target share last season, which is not great. With that number, he sits at tight end 22. You mentioned 49 receptions, 587 yards. Both numbers that put him above tight end 12 in both categories. I think in yards, he was tight end 14. And in receptions, he was tight end 18.
Yep.
So a big part of the reason why I can't put Knox into my top 10 is his involvement in the passing game, moving the ball down the field. In the red zone, he's money. When he's getting touchdowns, he's producing. I love what he can do in that money zone in terms of fantasy purposes. But having him as a tight end 1 in that top 10 means, and I hope he does get more involved in the passing game, means that he's going to be more included moving the ball downfield. And then Pat Freiermuth, as much as I liked him as a hot waiver pickup last season, I do not like having him in as a top 10 fantasy tight end. He only finished with 4 games with double-digit points and 0.5 PPR scoring, and that is something that has me nervous to draft him. So I think that's at 10, you're ranking him at his ceiling. He's another tight end dependent, another TD dependent tight end that can get lost on a week-to-week basis. Unless the situation at QB changes for the better in Pittsburgh, I might have Demuth fading in my rankings coming start of the season. Another guy with a low target share on a team loaded with pass-catching talent. And then the top 5 in terms of passing plays per game last season, I think they were averaging 41.7 passing plays per game. So the fact that he was little part of that offense, he wasn't really involved in the passing game. He was first in red zone targets, I believe, though. I think he had something like 20 red zone targets. So again, him and Knox again, you know what I mean? 2 guys, if they can get more involved in the passing game, moving the ball downfield, 2 guys I'm happy putting in my top 12. Keeping them in the top 10, I think I'd rather have Mike Gesicki in the top 10. But it's tough. Like we said, between 5 and 10, those guys are separated by less than 10 points. So if you cannot get one of these top end targets, top end tight ends in your league, what you should be targeting in your drafts, because the difference in points, the tier difference in these guys is huge. Between 1 and 5 here, the rest, it could just be a wasteland. They're all the same guy pretty much.
That, and see, like when I did the whole rankings, like I did my rankings, but like if I'm gonna tier them out, I'm gonna go, Andrews to Pitts, or actually Andrews to Kittle will be tier 1. Yeah. I'm not trying to disrespect Waller. I feel like he had phenomenal seasons, but it kind of caught up to him. I have Waller up until even Schultz. See Waller, and I feel like Goddard and Schultz could be like a tier 2. And then Dawson Knox, Pat Freiermuth, Gesicki, Hunter Henry, even Albert O now over Noah Fant. I think those are the guys that you take later rounds. You go, oh crap, I had no tight end right now. Let me see who's lurking there. Like honestly, I think Pat Freiermuth is going to have a uptake in a year. I know they're a mouse to feed, but like if you get a rookie quarterback into that system, or you get like a quarterback in his first year, we always say what's a rookie quarterback's best friend? Is a tight end. I think the second year into the system. Last year, he had 60 catches on 79 targets. He did only have 497 yards. Did come away with 7 touchdowns. He had the 20 red zone targets. He was one of the higher ones. I think his floor, give me a 12. I think his ceiling could be maybe a 9. I don't think I'd go past 9. It's just because, like you said, that this tight end wasteland that it was, it's better than last year. I'll tell you that much. Last year and this year, two different worlds. I see like Gesicki, he's got the potential, but like how many times have we seen Gesicki throw up a goose egg?
Yeah, and he's not much of a pass blocker. That's why he's
Exactly.
lined up in a lot of those wide receiver formations, lined up as a wide receiver. So his playing time is limited as well. If he can become a decent pass blocker, he's going to be on the field more. Let's bring up that question about Albert Okwuegbunam. I think that's 2,000 points to me, Splash.
Hey, he's been practicing that.
I've been saying it since he was in college. But where do you put Albert Okwuegbunam now in my rankings? I'm comfortable putting him in that top 15. Another guy who is an elite athlete. His speed score ranks in the 100th percentile. His 40-yard dash. I'm gonna pull it up here, but he's another athlete. A guy. Noah Fant last season, 90 targets, which put him at tight end 10. 16 red zone targets, put him at tight end 8. So he's involved in the passing game, 576 passing yards. And what did he catch for TDs? He got 4 TDs. So Noah Fant is going to vacate a lot of volume in terms of tight end production for the Denver Broncos. And we know that Russell Wilson does look for the tight ends. We've seen what he did with Gerald Everett. When he has a decent tight end, he can look for him. He made not Dan Arnold. What's the guy's name?
He made Will Dissly. He made
Will Dissly. Luke Wilson.
Luke
Wilson. So, but if you're looking there, I'm okay putting Albert O into my top 15, bumping Dan Arnold out. I think you have Dan Arnold in the top 15. The same reason why I do, because of the system that they're going to run over there with Peterson, right?
I mean, Peterson knows how to use the tight ends because he had Goddard and he had Ertz. But like, if you look at this list, like, you guys have to understand, top 1 to 12. I sat here for hours outside in this beautiful Florida weather. I'm like writing a script. I'm like, what can I do? What can I like say to make this stick out? If you have any of these top 12 tight ends all the way to Hunter Henry, let's forget the other 3 under that. You're sitting good. Like, yeah, of course you have the 4 to 1. You know, you have those tight ends that make up for the receiver 2 that you get. So say you take Andrews and then you have to come back around like, dang, I don't have a good receiver 2. The points that Kelsey, Pitts, Kittle, and Andrews get you are enough to cover not only the wasteland that is a 12-point tight end, but also cover your receiver 2. So that's why if I take them high, I'm fine because I know I'm going to get a lesser receiver 2, but they make up for the points. Now, if you go from like 5 to like 8, you better have a better receiver 2 because not always are these guys going to get you what the top 4 are going to get you. And then, of course, the bottom 9 to 12, Dawson Knox, Freiermuth, Gesicki, Hunter Henry. Those are guys. It's like, hey, it's round 13. It's round whatever. You're like, I need a tight end. These are the guys you get, but you better hope you have a team that's better built around your other players, not the tight end. So like, that's when I tiered them off. It's like top 4. Okay, I don't have to worry about a receiver 1 either. I can get a decent receiver 2, decent receiver 3. They make up for the points. Everything else under that, you kind of gotta you got to play it smart and you got to kind of play the position game. Like, you don't want to draft Hunter Henry in like the 10th round because he's sitting there like, oh, I don't have anything to replace him. Like, wait a little bit longer because guys like Albert O, Cole Kmet, Dan Arnold, like, they can make up for Hunter Henry's 2 points per game less.
Agreed. Yep.
So
agreed.
Like, it's difficult because it's such like a scarce position, but like, it's also like an easy position to just, okay, give me this guy, plug him in, see if there's a streaming tight end sometimes. I mean, Dalton Schultz last year for me in the league was on waivers.
Yeah.
And I picked him up and look where he ended up in tight end 3. So like, it happens. Like, there's a guy that someone's going to drop. Someone's not going to like his production. You can get a cheap trade for. And tight end, like I keep saying, it's an easy position to get, but it's also like a wasteland. So like, don't miss out, but also don't overpay.
Agreed with that. So that's Steph's list there. He's gonna post it on his Twitter so you guys can get at him. Let him know.
I thought you were going to do more than that.
I mean, our lists are so similar, buddy, that it's hard to argue. And the scoring between a lot of these guys is so tight that it's hard to really pick apart what you got going on. So let's bring up mine, and we'll talk about mine quick, and then we'll get to the takes. So I got Mark Andrews 1, Travis Kelce 2. Same thing there. I'm expecting the same kind of output for both these guys. Mark Andrews, absolute stud. You can see there his finish, tight end 1, 253.1 points, 1,361 receiving yards on 107 receptions and 9 TDs. If you're playing in any kind of tight end premium, I mean, he's scoring as a top 10 wide receiver at that point. So the value that you're going to get with Mark Andrews, you're going to have to draft him early. You're going to have to draft him in that second to third round range.
Yeah.
So
or even a draft a tight end, though. Like if you're in a 12-man redraft, half-point PPR, where do you feel comfortable this year with these tight ends?
I'm okay taking Andrews in the second, mid to late second there, knowing that I have a set it and forget it tight end. If there's any kind of premium, I'm even more okay with it, just because it gets a little weary between 5 and 15 this year. It gets a little weary. It gets a little tight. And any one of these guys, they're all pretty much the same after that, other than the top really 4. Big hawk this year. Yep, I got TJ Hawkinson at 6. Again, with Steph, if he can stay healthy, he's a big part of that passing offense for the Detroit Lions. George Kittle at 3. He missed a few games last season. Still an elite option for the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know if his chemistry with Trey Lance is going to be the same as it was with Jimmy G, but he's still a focal point of that offense. Kyle Pitts at 4, Darren Waller at 5. I got TJ Hawkinson at 6. Now, back to Darren Waller, in that McDaniels offense, he can catapult up to tight end 1. If they play any kind of the same style that they played in New England with the heavy tight end packages, knowing what he can do, he can definitely catapult as the tight end 1 at the end of the season. I got Dallas Goedert at 7. You had him at 6. So even that, it's hard to pick apart where you put him. Dalton Schultz at 8. The tight end 3 last season. I might move him up 1 or 2 spots, knowing that if Cooper leaves, knowing that he was tagged with the Cowboys, knowing that Jarwin's out for pretty much, I think, the first month. Dalton Schultz can be the value tight end in your drafts. Mike Gesicki at 9 with the tag. I like it even more. I had Noah Fant at 10. That's definitely going to be a mover for me. So I'm definitely okay with moving Noah Fant a bit down on the list. Dawson Knox at 11. I gave reasons why I don't have Dawson Knox in my top 10. I still have him finishing as a tight end 1, a low end tight end 1 there at the 11 spot. Hunter Henry at 12. I got Pat Freiermuth at 13, Dan Arnold at 14, and Cole Kmet at 15. So our back end tight ends just swap positions there. Yep. But I mean, there's not much other than Noah Fant. There's not much there that's really different from our lists.
I mean, like I said, that goes to show like if you look at all these segments from quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, it's like this is the only one I think we've actually agreed on the most, because you can't help but agree because they are so similar. They are just so close. Yeah. And I'll keep preaching till draft day. You can draft anybody from give me 8, 7 from your list all the way down to even give me 15. Albert O was going to replace Noah Fant. I think you'd be all right. It's not like you said a sit and like don't worry about a position, but it's like a sit and like, hey, you doing good? You good? You're good? Yeah, okay, good, great. It's like you got to check on it a little bit, but like, I don't know. I mean, it's just I don't like to take tight ends I've never taken a tight end in a lot of my drafts in the top 3. I'm just scared I'll lose out on running backs, receivers. And as good as Mark Andrews is, he is a beast. Travis Kelce, he's a 32-year-old tight end, but he's playing like he's 28. Like George Kittle, the guy's a monster. Like he's a freak. Kyle Pitts is 22 years old. Yeah. Like all these guys are going to ball. But it's really, it's like, I might not want to take someone, but hey, Chris, you might take someone second round and it might work out for you well. It might not work out for you well. It's just really, you never know. But I think if Lamar Jackson is 100% this year, even without Lamar Jackson, Huntley showed that Andrews is that guy.
Leaned upon. Yep. Yeah, he's leaned upon
heavily. So, I mean, I like your list. I mean, a lot better. than I thought I would. I mean, that's a little suspect, here. But I mean, it's just your list and my list scream out what the position really is. It's like, hey, you can have any of these 15 guys and you'll be all right. If you have any of the top 4 guys, you'll be great. But it depends how you draft.
Yep. Yeah. A big part of it's draft style and where you personally value these guys. Seattle is releasing Bobby Wagner. More huge news out of Seattle. Another key piece to that Legion of Boom defense. Bobby Wagner has been eliminated from the Seattle Seahawks.
They're gutting this entire. It's a
rebuild is real.
Rebuild. Hey, if you can
Jamal Adams left the Jets because he didn't want to be part of a rebuild, only to go to Seattle to be part of a rebuild.
You know they say about karma, right? Karma.
Yeah, gets you. Gets you. So I just wanted to give some stuff on TJ Hawkinson and why I have him at 6. He was 5th tight end in target share, 21%. He held a 23.7% target share in the red zone. We'll come to Detroit, Bobby. Hey, he's gonna have a lot of suitors. That's for
sure. We'll take anybody.
Yeah. You probably end up on the Rams for all I know, going to chase a chip. But TJ Hawkinson, 83 targets, 83.8% snap share. So the guy is always on the field, 240 slot snaps. So he's lining up as a wide receiver as well. The team didn't really pass that much on a per game basis, but he was a big part of the operation in Detroit. If he can stay healthy, he can finish as a top 5 fantasy tight end. So there you have it. Wagner makes a ton of sense in Baltimore. He wouldn't count against the comp pick formula.
Everyone would look good in Baltimore.
Yeah, that's true. Baltimore, man, would be scary. I could see maybe someone in the AFC West picking him up to go against Russell Wilson. That would be
or just pair him in Denver with Russell Wilson.
You could do that.
He's a free agent now. He's 10 years in. It's like you're not gonna get the contract you want. Like,
I wonder how many Seahawks players were like, they saw the trade and they were like, "Get me out of here."
Get me. I think the second that Russell Wilson left, they looked like, "Oh, who do we get back?" Oh, it's Drew Lock. Get me out of here, please.
Get me out of here.
Get me now.
Trade me. Yeah. Trade me.
I think DK Metcalf, though. DK Metcalf, I think, is going to have the hottest market. Like, I think Lockett's going to go somewhere and be like a consistent, guy. I think DK, if he gets traded, his career, I know he's still young. I think his career will just go, like, give him to, like, where can he go that he'd be like that guy? Where is DK Metcalf going to end up that he's what he was with Russell Wilson?
Give me Jacksonville, man.
You love Jacksonville.
Give me Jacksonville.
Are you a closet Jacksonville fan or something?
No. I'm a closet Trevor Lawrence fan, and I hold a lot of shares of him, so giving him an elite wide receiver, deep ball target would be good. We've seen Drew Lock pass the ball downfield. We know that he can sling the rock.
Defense,
can you get it can you put it on a dime to DK Metcalf? Time will tell. Maybe DK Metcalf is out of there as well.
Is this the resurgence that Drew Lock needed? Like, get me out of Denver. I could do so much better. Oh, Seattle, great. And he's got 2 good receivers, but like, let's be real. Was Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton that much, or even Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler, was it that much of a difference? Like, is he going to redo his career, like revive his career, or is he just going to be released and another quarterback that Elway drafted after Manning that just didn't work out?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Drew Lock's got a future anymore. I think they're going full rebuild. He might be like the Jared Goff with the Lions, but like,
yeah, I could see him being a bridge quarterback. The Seattle Seahawks can take a project quarterback, maybe Malik Willis at 1.9, and have him sit behind Drew Lock for a season, get his feet under him, learn the system, figure out the NFL. A lot of people are saying he is a little bit raw. He is a project quarterback, but he does have probably the highest ceiling out of all of them in this year's draft. So it's definitely one of those situations that could happen where they draft Malik Willis at 1.9, have Drew Lock there as that bridge quarterback, and then next year or 2023 start Malik Willis and then let Drew Lock go. But that's it for our tight ends. We're going to post these on uSTADIUM. We're going to post them on our socials so you guys can pick apart Stefan's list. Leave mine alone, please.
What? Whoa. Brother, I've had enough abuse from the last two shows. Go to his. I'm still recovering from my running back one that I left Josh Jacobs. I still have nightmares of that.
Yeah. Okay, we got a question here. Josh Jacobs, yeah. And Deontay Johnson. But we'll leave that.
I stand by that.
Okay, Cairo Phantom Productions. Do you guys think DAndre Swift is still a top 3 dynasty running back?
Name your top 3 right now.
Top 3 dynasty?
Yep.
I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor, of course. And then I'm going to go number 2. See, I wouldn't mind taking Swift at number 2, knowing that he can catch the ball and he can run the ball and he's a big part of that offense there in Detroit.
Najee Harris or DAndre Swift?
Okay, so JT, Harris, and then Swift. I'm okay. Dynasty, I'm okay with those 3 as the top 3, I think.
Okay. You know what? I mean, I'm only scared because I don't know what Detroit's going to do. Mm-hmm. I think, I've been trying to trade for DAndre Swift in dynasty leagues too. I'm trying to acquire him as best as I can. But JK2K. Oh, no, not yet. JK down. Relax. We'll come back to that. I think, you know what? Because I'm even thinking about it. I think I would take Swift over Javonte. I think because
I'm definitely taking Swift over Javonte.
I think he's more of a proven factor, and he's only 22 is DAndre Swift.
Yeah,
and he caught how many passes last year? He did how many yards? And
a bunch.
Yeah, he was a beast. So now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, redraft league. I don't think I would do a redraft league of PPR. I might take him like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, redraft. I'm probably taking Henry above him. Probably taking maybe Dalvin Cook above DAndre Swift, but know the production. No, you're not taking Dalvin Cook. No.
I know my list said it, but like you even got me thinking of that one. I'm like, wait a minute, because it is Dalvin Cook is good, but like he's got miles on him now, and DAndre Swift is still fresh. And we'll talk running backs. We'll talk any position on this show. So tight ends is
we
like
appreciate the questions. Yeah, exactly. We appreciate the questions. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. We're live every Tuesday in the off season. I'm Chris. That's Stefan. That was our tight ends. But now we're gonna get into the uSTADIUM app feature. If you guys don't have the uSTADIUM app, the link is in the description. We're gonna give you some of our takes that you guys can either agree with or disagree with on the app. So if we can fire that up, we'll get it going and see if we agree with each other or disagree with each other on these takes. I got offered Michael Carter, Jerry Jeudy, and the 110 2022 in exchange for Swift and a 2023 second. I think I'm declining. What are you doing with that?
I'm not taking it. I'm not. I mean, I'll tell you right now, DAndre Swift is better than any running back that's going to come out of this draft. I'll just be
better than Brees?
As right now, I think so. Like, if you put any of these running backs on any team, they're rookies. Look at Najee Harris, he's balling, but like DAndre Swift is a known factor in Detroit. We know what he can do. If he can sit there and be healthy, it's always health. Health is always the one thing I'm always scared of. And I know these guys like Hawkinson and Swift, but Swift is a dog. Swift is that guy. And I think Michael Carter, I mean, you even said it to me. I had him in my top 20, and you made sense. You're like, this guy, he can't handle a full workload. He can't handle I think a 17-game season, which I know DAndre Swift has proven he couldn't either. But DAndre Swift can get you 9 catches in a game and 16 carries in a game. Easily 2 touchdowns.
He's PPR machine. Yep.
Yeah, he's a stud. So as much as I like Jerry Jeudy's stock with the Russell Wilson, I just think that Michael Carter Jeudy is just not enough. And that 110, like who's going to be there at 110? Like Kenneth Walker, maybe. Like Spiller,
you might be able to get. I mean, Spiller's draft stock has been dropping since the combine.
Exactly. So you don't know what's going to be there. At least take the first sure thing in DAndre Swift. So I
definitely don't hate the move. My worry is that the Jets draft running back, maybe
the workload.
So yeah, I don't hate the move. Do you guys have any particular players you want to see drafted to a certain team, i.e. Garrett Wilson to Atlanta?
Drake London to where? To Atlanta.
To Atlanta. I want to see Christian Watson to Green Bay.
Ooh.
I'm currently working on a Christian Watson rookie profile. I reached out to him on Twitter. I'm trying to get him on the show. So I would love to see Christian Watson on Green Bay. Give me Olave on Kansas City, another speedster that can stretch the field, even though they probably already have 3 Chris Olaves on KC with Hardman, Robinson, Pringle, and then Olave. So there's that. But I would like to see Drake London on the Jaguars. And then give me Jameson Williams to the Saints. I would love to see that.
Oh, John Mechie.
John Mechie, give me the Pats.
New England. I knew it. I had a feeling that one.
Yeah. Albert, are you all going to do any mock drafts this season? We are going to do a ton of mock drafts this season. We're going to do rookie mocks, maybe redraft mocks. We're going to do a bunch of stuff before and after the draft. We got the time. We got weeks. We got weeks and weeks and weeks.
We got what?
To do a lot of stuff here.
The clock says we got till September.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining the show. We appreciate it. Can we get to the takes? Are we available to do that? Let's fire. We want to show you guys how it works as well. If you're not part of uSTADIUM, but before we get on, I mean, my first take, I got Russell Wilson finishes as a top 5 fantasy scoring quarterback with the move to Denver. We know that he can do it. He has finished in the top 5. He's finished as QB1 in some seasons. So I'm okay with Russell Wilson finishing as a top 5 fantasy scoring quarterback. I'm going to put 1,000 uSTADIUM points on that take. So if you guys don't know, the points are equal to dollars. 1,000 points is $1, right?
Yep.
1,000 points is $1. You go on there. You can agree or disagree. If Russell Wilson finishes as a top 5 fantasy scoring quarterback and 20 people join, but only 2 people agree, and the 18 disagree, the 2 people are going to win a lot of points, and points equal money. So Russell Wilson finishes as a top 5 fantasy scoring quarterback is my first take. You had Kyle Pitts finishing as the tight end 1.
Yep, number 1 overall tight end of the league.
Yeah, so that was your first take there. My second take, Seattle takes Malik Willis with their pick from Denver at pick 109.
8? Is it 9 or 8?
109, I believe.
Okay.
And
so
I'm going to
Is he the first quarterback?
He's the first quarterback taken unless Carolina takes Pickett at 8. I think Carolina has 8, and they take Pickett at 8.
Is it 6 or 8? I don't know.
I think they're at they might, one or the other, but
either way,
Carolina is 6. Carolina is 6, so they might take Pickett at 6. I think Pickett is the most NFL ready quarterback. Yep. So I got Malik Willis with the 9th pick, Denver to Seattle. I'm gonna put 1,000 points onto that as well. I'm confident about that take. So give me your second take, buddy. Let me know what you got going on.
I feel like there should be more. I think it's going to be more than 1,000. So one of my biggest takes is going to be that Aaron Rodgers repeats as a back-to-back NFL MVP.
Back-to-back?
Back-to-back, like a Drake mixtape. I'm going to put.
That's huge. That's huge.
Give me 1,500 on that one. It's a big one. Give me 1,500. And I think it's very capable because what's changed? What's changed in that offense? He's got Devontae Adams back. Say they drafted a Christian Watson. I mean, this guy it's Aaron freaking Rodgers. He's a bad man. And I think he's coming back. He's not on a revenge tour. He's more like hey, this NFC is a cakewalk now. I hate to say it. It's a cakewalk. Give me 5 quarterbacks better than Aaron Rodgers in the NFC right now. Don't worry about it. There is no one better. So, the NFC North is a crapshoot. The NFC West is a crapshoot. I'm sorry. I was at Kyler Murray. The South, we don't want to go to the South. We know it's the South. Outside of that, who's stopping this guy? Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers are the only 2 guys left in the NFC North. Yeah. I think Rodgers does it. I think he's a back back NFL MVP. And I think
Wow.
the first ever to win three in a row.
That's huge. That's huge. So go to the uSTADIUM app. Our takes will be there under the uSTADIUM fantasy profile. You'll see them there. Agree or disagree? Agree with us that Kyle Pitts finishes as the tight end 1 on the season. Agree that Russell Wilson finishes as a top 5 fantasy scoring quarterback, or disagree? Agree or disagree? Seattle takes Malik Willis with their pick from Denver at 109. And agree or disagree? I think I'm disagreeing with that one.
I'll take it. I'll take your money.
Aaron Rodgers finishes as the triple MVP, back to back to back. I mean, huge ones. And then get at us on Twitter. Let us know that you bought in, so we know what's going on. And we'll talk about it throughout the season. We'll keep you updated with these takes. And at the end of the day, the points that you win, you can cash out. You can cash out, which is huge.
And we give away points. We always like to give away free points. So like if we're gonna
there's
give
a daily login. There's you get push notifications on the app to say you come join this take and you get extra points. You make a take and you're getting points. There's all kinds of promos. I mean, uSTADIUM does it right when it's taking care of their users. So download the app again. It's in the description. And that's it for us. Tight ends, way too early. Top 15 is in the books. Next week, we got a very special guest, Jeremy Popes. Yeah, drop it. Steph locked down Jeremy Popes for us. We're going to be talking rookies heading in to the NFL draft.
I can't wait for that.
I hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, we've been waiting a while to talk rookies, man. We hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Chris, and with me as always is Stefan. Stefan, let them know where they can find you, big guy.
It's usually right here. I think I got a lot of bad
We took it off because all the hate mail you're getting.
But I will tell you, it's Bear Schmoms on Twitter, uSTADIUM, you even at gmail.com. You can email me if you somehow don't have anything else. But listen, get on the app, get on the takes. I have takes. I'm looking for anything to say every day. I want that smoke. I want that heat. I want those DMs blowing up like you don't know what you're talking about. So hit me up right here. Hit me up on my list. You saw my tight end, my quarterback, my running back, my receiver list. You heard me say some crazy outlandish stuff. If you agree or disagree, make a take. Make it interesting. Because I'm here all the way until next year. So we're here every day until September, every week, Sundays until the end of the season. And I'm going to say some stuff that's going to blow your mind or stuff that's going to make absolute no sense and stuff that's going to make you go, this guy's a genius. So
yep.
Right there.
Something I say often in this show.
Is it? I heard some other words, but I don't think we can say that live.
That's it for us, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week. Get at us on the socials, on the uSTADIUM app. We cannot wait to see you guys next Tuesday. Ciao.
Thank you.